Shalom. Hello again. I'm Michael McHugh. Welcome back to what is, I suppose in essence, part 2 of my presentation on the pronunciation of the Creator's name. I left this information out of the main presentation because I felt it was too detailed for it and would detract from the main premise. It is nonetheless important information. I mentioned that the pointing of Yud-He-Vav-He with the vowels of Adonai at Ezekiel 28:22 was a mistake, but not the kind of mistake that inadvertently reveals the true pronunciation. In this presentation, I'm going to offer additional information from the Aleppo Codex which bears this out. I hope you'll take it into consideration. The information is, as I said, rather detailed. It involves the conjunction vav, and the inseparable prepositions bet, in, kaf, as, lamed, to, and mem, from. I hope to demonstrate that when joined to Yud-He-Vav-He, they carry the vowels they do when joined to Adonai. They do not carry the vowels they would if Yehovah was an authentic word beginning with a Yud and a Shva. This indicates that what is written as Yehovah was intended to be read Adonai. Yud-He-Vav-He appears 6,826 times in the Tanakh. Whether accompanied by the word Elohim or standing alone, Yud-He-Vav-He was pointed with the vowels of Adonai, sometimes with cholam and sometimes without it. Here we see it pointed without cholam. Here we see it pointed with cholam. In both cases, it was intended to be read Adonai. Preceding Elohim, Yud-He-Vav-He is pointed with the vowels of Adonai. Preceding Adonai, Yud-He-Vav-He was pointed with the vowels of Elohim to be read Elohim so that Adonai would not be read twice. And following Adonai, Yud-He-Vav-He was pointed with the vowels of Elohim so that Adonai would not be read twice. And then we have this one instance in Ezekiel 28:22 where Yud-He-Vav-He follows Adonai, and where we would expect it to carry the vowels of Elohim so that Adonai would not be read twice, we find it instead with the vowels of Adonai, so that Adonai would indeed be read twice. This phenomenon has led some to believe that the pointing Yehovah at Ezekiel 28:22 was a subconscious slip-up which inadvertently reveals the true pronunciation of the Creator's name. But tell me now, seriously, what is so significant about Yud-He-Vav-He pointed with the vowels of Adonai at Ezekiel 28:22? It's not like that's the only place in the codices where we see it like that. There are literally scores of places where Yud-He-Vav-He is found with the full vowel set of Adonai. The only thing significant about it at Ezekiel 28:22 is that it follows Adonai and should have been pointed with the vowel set of Elohim. It's a fluke, but it's not an isolated occurrence by any means. So there's nothing significant in that pointing, in and of itself. Here's the way I look at it. Think about this. If the pointing Yehovah at Ezekiel 28:22 represents the original vowels, then the 6,715 other pointings of Yevah and Yehovah, where the name appears alone or with Elohim, also represent original vowels, and so the 308 pointings of Yevi and Yehovi are a mistake. But if the pointing of Yud-He-Vav-He with the vowels of Adonai at Ezekiel 28:22 represents a mistake, that is, they should have been the vowels of Elohim, then the 6,715 other pointings of Yud-He-Vav-He with the vowels of Adonai, with or without the cholam, where the name appears alone or with Elohim, represent the tradition of no mention. And so the 308 pointings of Yud-He-Vav-He with the vowels of Elohim, with or without the cholam, also represent that tradition. In other words, if Aaron ben Asher slipped up at Ezekiel 28:22 and put legitimate vowels into Yud He Vav He, then he also slipped up elsewhere for a grand total of 6,716 times. And the scribes after him repeated his mistake, as is evidenced by the Leningrad Codex. If, however, Aaron ben Asher slipped up at Ezekiel 28:22 and put the wrong vowels into Yud He Vav He, then he slipped up one time, and no scribe after him repeated his mistake, as evidenced by the Leningrad Codex. Yes, the wrong vowels were put into Yud He Vav He at Ezekiel 28:22. But they are the wrong vowels not because they're the right ones, but because they are the vowels of the word Adonai when they should have been the vowels of Elohim. And this brings us to some rules of Hebrew grammar and the evidence in the texts themselves which substantiate this claim. This is probably going to be kind of boring, but we do first have to examine the pertinent points of grammar. Then we'll turn to the manuscripts to see it for ourselves. The evidence is found with the conjunction vav, and with the inseparable prepositions lamed, to or for, bet, in, with or by, kaf, as or like, and mem, from. These prepositions have no existence as separate words, but like the article, they attach themselves as prefixes to the words they govern. They are therefore called inseparable prepositions. The pointing of the inseparable preposition is as follows. 1. Normally vowelless, i.e. with shva, thus, a king, melech, to a king, lemelech, in a king, bemelech, as a king, kemelech. 2. When the inseparable preposition is prefixed to a word whose first letter has a shva, e.g. Shmuel, Samuel, then since two shvas cannot stand together at the beginning of a word as le Shmuel, the shva under the prefix becomes chirik, lishmuel. Hence, before a shva, the inseparable preposition is pointed with chirik. Thus, kings, malachim. Two kings, limlachim, in kings, bimlachim, as kings, kimlachim. 3. A special case of two is when the inseparable preposition is prefixed to a word beginning with Yud Shva, as Yudah, Judah. To Judah is first Li-Yehuda, but the Yud quiesces, i.e. it loses its consonantal character and merges into the preceding homogeneous vowel, becoming Li-Yehuda. Hence, before Yud Shva, the inseparable preposition is pointed with a chirik, and the shva under the yud falls away. Thus, Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. To Jerusalem, Li-Yerushalayim. In Jerusalem, Birushalayim. As Jerusalem, Kirushalayim. 4. Another special case of two is when the inseparable preposition is prefixed to a word whose first letter is a guttural which has a composite shva, as Ari, a lion. The combination le-Ari is of course impossible, since two shvas cannot stand together at the beginning of a word, so... Under the influence of the composite shva, the inseparable preposition assumes the corresponding short vowel. A lion, Ari. To a lion, la-Ari. In a lion, ba-Ari. As a lion, ka-Ari. 6. On page 23, it was explained that the divine name is always written Yud He Vav He with the vowel set of Adonai, Ketiv, but read Adonai, Kri, the Lord, and that the impossible form Yehovah was produced by giving the Ketiv the vowels of the Kri. The same process is carried out consistently when the inseparable preposition is prefixed to the divine name. Thus, Yud He Vav He is written and read as Adonai, the Lord. Ketiv, written, Kri, read. To Yud He Vav He is written and read as Ladonai, to the Lord. In Yud He Vav He is written and read as Badonai, in the Lord. As Yud He Vav He is written and read as Kadonai, as the Lord. The preposition min, from, is usually prefixed to the word it governs when that word has not the article. It then becomes inseparable and is pointed as follows. 1. Before ordinary letters, i.e. excluding gutturals, aleph, he, chet, ayin, and the letter resh, e.g. Saul, the combination min Shaul becomes mishaul. The vowelless nun is assimilated, and the following letter is doubled by dagesh forte. It thus becomes mi followed by dagesh. From a king, mi melech. From a day, mi yom. From a night, mi laila. 2. Before gutturals, or resh, e.g. Adam, a man. Then from a man is me Adam, for a hypothetical mi Adam. Since these letters cannot receive a dagesh forte, the preceding vowel, here under the preposition, is lengthened, and the preposition is me. Thus, from a city, me'ir. From darkness, mechoshech. From a head, merosh. The conjunction. The conjunction and is a prefixed vav, i.e. it is inseparable. It is pointed like the inseparable prepositions with the exception of the case explained in 2 below. 1. Ordinarily it is vowelless, i.e. it is pointed with shva, ve. 3. When prefixed to a word beginning with yud shva, the yud, as in the case of the inseparable prepositions, quiesces into a vowel, thus Judah, Yuda, and Judah, Vihuda, Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, and Jerusalem, Virushalayim. 6. With the ketiv, Yud He Vav He, pointed with the vowels of Adonai and read as the latter, the combination is, and read as Vadonai. When attached to the word Adonai, Lord, the inseparable prepositions and the conjunction carry the vowels as above in Ari, lion, and the composite shva under the aleph falls away. Adonai. And Adonai, Vadonai, with Adonai, Badonai, to Adonai, Ladonai. Okay, we are done with the points of grammar. Now let's turn our attention to the manuscripts themselves and see these things there. Here is how Yerushalayim looks with the conjunction and inseparable prepositions, a word beginning with a yud and a simple shva. Yerushalayim, Virushalayim, and Jerusalem. Birushalayim, in Jerusalem. Kirushalayim, as Jerusalem. Lirushalayim, to Jerusalem. Mirushalayim, from Jerusalem. Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. Virushalayim, and Jerusalem. Birushalayim, in Jerusalem. Kirushalayim, as Jerusalem. Lirushalayim, to Jerusalem. And Mirushalayim, from Jerusalem. And now, here is how Adonai looks with the conjunction and inseparable prepositions, being a word which begins with an aleph and a compound shva. Adonai, Vadonai, and Adonai. Badonai, in Adonai. Kadonai, as Adonai. L'Adonai, to Adonai. Me Adonai, from Adonai. Adonai, with cholam. Adonai, without cholam. Vadonai, without cholam. Badonai, without cholam. Ladonai, with cholam. And we do not actually have Me Adonai in the Hebrew text, but we do have at Job 3:19 Me Adonav. The addition of the vav at the end of Adonai changes the meaning from my master to his master. The vowels are the same. And finally, here is how Yehovah would look with the conjunction and inseparable prepositions if it was the real deal, being a word which begins with a yud and a simple shva. Yehovah, we would see Yehovah and Yehovah, Bihovah in Yehovah, Kihovah as Yehovah, Lihovah to Yehovah, Mihovah from Yehovah. But we don't see any of that ever, not one single instance. What we do see is the conjunction and inseparable prepositions voweled as if the word they belong to was Adonai, whether it has the cholam or not. And so we see Yud He Vav He with cholam, without cholam, with vav. The vowel A is for the word Adonai. With Bet, the vowel A is for the word Adonai. With cholam and without it. With Lamed, the vowel A is for the word Adonai. With cholam and without it. With Mem, the vowel A is for the word Adonai. With cholam or without it. Yud He Vav He. If Yehovah was the authentic pronunciation, we should see Yehovah and Yehovah, Bihovah in Yehovah, Lihovah to Yehovah, and Mihovah from Yehovah. But we don't. We see Va, indicating that the word was to be read Vadonai. Va is the combination for Adonai, not Yehovah. We see Ba, indicating that the word to be read is Adonai, because Ba is the combination for Adonai, not Yehovah. La, the combination for Adonai, not Yehovah. And Me Adonai, the combination for Adonai, not Yehovah. The idea that the pointing Yehovah at Ezekiel 28:22 represents the authentic pronunciation of the name does not portray Aaron ben Asher in a very favorable light, in my opinion. For certainly, a highly gifted and capable man can mistakenly put the wrong vowels into Yud He Vav He once out of almost 7,000 times, but how incompetent he must have been to consistently put the wrong vowels into the conjunction and inseparable prepositions while inadvertently putting the right vowels into Yud He Vav He, if Yehovah is indeed the true pronunciation. Do you see what a mess that makes of the whole thing? What more can be said? To sum up, When joined to Yud He Vav He, the conjunction Vav and inseparable prepositions Beit, Kaf, Lamed, and Mem carry the vowels they would have if they were joined to Adonai. This indicates that Yud He Vav He with the vowels of Adonai was intended to be read Adonai. When joined to Yud He Vav He, the conjunction Vav and inseparable prepositions Beit, Kaf, Lamed, and Mem do not carry the vowels they do when joined to a legitimate word beginning with Yud Shva. This indicates that Yud He Vav He with the vowels of Adonai was intended to be read Adonai. Oftentimes Yud He Vav He is voweled without the cholam, as is Adonai. This indicates that Yud He Vav He with the vowels of Adonai was intended to be read Adonai. The conclusion? The pointing of Yud He Vav He with the vowels of Adonai at Ezekiel 28:22 was a mistake. It should have been pointed with the vowels of Elohim. Here is a grammatical summary of the word Yehovah, if you can call it a grammatical summary. The root is He Vav He, but that's where its legitimacy ends. What form is it? It's made up from the letters of a verb and the vowels of a noun. It has no legitimate Hebrew form. It certainly does not translate into I am, and isn't that what we're looking for? As a hybrid, it has no meaning whatsoever. When all the data has been evaluated, Yehovah has not the authenticity we're looking for. Yehu, Yehu, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Nosei Avon v'Peshe v'Chata'a, v'Nakeh lo Yenakeh, Poker Avon Avot al Banim v'al Bnei Banim, al Shileshim v'al Ribeim.